session, I am going to talk about what's called argument essay. For those who doesn't know what, we need to look at the title. The title is argument, and what is meant by argument is having two different opinions. In one of them are pro, which means they are in favor of a point, and the others are con or against, which means that there is a group of scholars who are against the argument. And that can be called also argument and counter-argument. Now that is for them, and of course when you are arguing on a point, you need to provide evidence, and evidence is reference. Like a book or a journal or a publication, which you need to add in order to make sure that you provide a good, convincing, reliable kind of reference to your argument. On the other hand, you have the counter-argument, which is opposing to the first argument. That is with regards to what is called argument. Now, as the title indicates, also there is what's called essay. What is an essay? Of course, essays, well, generally speaking, if we are looking at only the structure of, or the whole structure, general structure of an essay, it starts with an introduction, and then the body, which can vary in terms of the number of points in the body, and then you have the conclusion. In the introduction, usually you will have what's called the hook, and what's called also the thesis statement. And I'm just going to show you here as in the introduction what is involved, or what's supposed to be in the introduction from what I have here in my PowerPoint, which I will share with you straight away. Now, as you can see here in the PowerPoint here, that you have the elements which are part of the introduction. And you have, for example, to start with, you have the hook, which grabs the attention of the reader. And then you have also, you mention the topic or of the essay, and some background information to connect the reader to the topic. And then finally is the thesis statement, which summarizes the main points that the writer, the author of the article or the essay, what is their idea, what's their position about this particular topic. These three are very, very important in the introduction, which needs to be done and needs to be explained well in the introductory paragraph of the essay. Now, in terms of the hook itself, the hook itself is of different types. There are many types of hook. The first type is called is a statement which is quite surprising or shocking or amazing statement, as in the case of talking about perhaps driving, or about mobile phones or something like that. Then there is another type which is called definition, where you are defining the title or the term that you are trying to explain. Or it can be a quotation, which is a very famous quotation by a famous scholar. Or it could be in the form of a question. As you can see, it is a question. Or it could be something has happened in history and you are mentioning it, as in the case here. And then you could also have it not as a shocking statement, but it can be a humorous and very funny kind of statement. Or there is a problem which you need to highlight, or there's a comparison using some sort of a metaphor or a simile. So these really are the various types of sentences that are called hook, which are the first sentence that is used, which is the first sentence that's used at the beginning of an essay, the argument essay. Then there is also what's called thesis statement, which is, as I said earlier, that it is actually, it will mention the position of the writer, which is you who's writing that essay. That these are really the major ones that you need to look at when you are actually thinking of writing the introduction, for example, as I said earlier. So this is one of the elements that you need to be aware of. But there are other I'm just going to try to defocus or less zoomed in so that you can follow me a bit better. So now that is really the introduction, and then you have also what's called the body of the text, or the body of your essay, which is also 3, 4, 5. It can be 4 paragraphs or 3 paragraphs. It depends really on the argument itself. How many reasons, for example, the argument is going to be giving you, or what is the counter argument is about, and what is the evidence provided to reject that counter argument that you don't accept. We're going to have an example of the essay, which I will look at with you, about studying abroad, which can be useful to you and to show you, demonstrate what I'm talking about theoretically wise or theoretical wise. Then what we need to look at is the conclusion. Of course, the conclusion is similar to the introduction in terms of summarizing some of these points that you have discussed in the essay, and plus revisiting the thesis statement to prove your point about what you are trying to discuss. We're going to look at an essay which applies to what I'm talking about, and then I'll go through it with you, and then see how you can find it, how it's applied in real terms, so you can actually be involved in it or understand what's going on. I'm going to just go back to the text on the computer, and here is the essay. The essay is called, as you can see, it is called "Why Studying Abroad is the Best Classroom." Of course, here what we look at the title itself, and the title, as you can see, I'm sorry to have shaken the camera a bit because I'm moving the cable from under it. Now, here we have, as you can see, why studying abroad is the best classroom. Here, why is not a question here. That's why the is coming after the word studying abroad. Why studying abroad is the best classroom. The word why here means the reason for studying abroad is that it is the best classroom. So in this particular essay, I'm just going to make it a bit bigger so you can actually see it a little bit bigger. I'm just going to get rid of this here part. You can see that I've highlighted the first line, which is the hook, and it is a quotation here. Okay. After the quotation, we have some background information. People in the past enjoy blah blah blah. Now, and carries on about background information, as you can see, and then I'm not going to read the whole thing because it's quite long to read. Colleges should require students to study abroad for at least 1 semester of their to prepare them. This is the actual thesis statement. This is the hook. This is what you have as a point to as a stand, where you stand as your attitude or your idea of the whole of this particular piece or essay. Then you have the first paragraph, second paragraph. So the first paragraph is in the introduction. Second paragraph is the first reason. One of the primary reasons is blah, 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 and then gives evidence. Brewer and Cunning conclude in an article, for example, and then they just say about some assumptions that have been held or may have held for their native lives, and this is number 9. What is number 9 for? It stands for page number of the reference, which is written by Brewer and Cunning. I think what needs to be included also is the date, which is missing here, which should have been added in there as well for the publication that's by Brewer and Cunning. So you need to add the date and also the page number, which is page 9, for people who would like to check. And then after you put the quotation here, you say, as blah blah, you explain what Brewer and Cunning is trying to say. So explanation of what's being said by these two. And then you review by experiencing a new culture firsthand, students will better appreciate and better understand. And these are very positive to being by the author, expressed by the author as points. When we go to the third paragraph here, we find that there is studying abroad. It's trying to the writer is trying to emphasize more that it facilitates, it makes it easier to learn a new language. So that's also another positive here, being more positive about learning abroad or studying abroad. While studying a language before going abroad establishes fewer experiences enhance language learning more than living in a country where it is used. So in other words, going abroad is a good thing. But here he gives an example or an evidence, which is by Kaufman, Martin and Weaver, who say, and there's a quotation which ends at the word classroom methods, and there's 36, which is the page. And of course, what's missing is the date should be added after the names of these two scholars. So this is the evidence. And then it explains the evidence further by the author themselves, not by Martin and Weaver, but the author is trying to explain what's being said in this quotation. And then after that, of course, we move on to the third body paragraph, okay, even though it says number 4, but of course it's 3 because the first one was the introduction and it's counting it as one of the paragraphs here. So in this one, additionally means I'm going to add more that what is really good for this new perspective. It might mean illogical, but then, you know, this discipline is organized and may vary considerably and might give you a new light into this and great benefits. Because the word benefits, it means good. So you see the positivity of the author with these with this particular point. So these are 3 points here. As you can see, the first after the introduction, you've got the body, which is paragraph number 2, then paragraph number 3 for the body. Number 4 is also part of the body, and there's also number 5. Now, number 5 is the one what I would call the counter argument. Okay, because we got 1 and 2 and 3, which are reasons for going and studying abroad and the benefits of that, which is great benefits. But then you've got number 5, which is saying that studying abroad may differ, but some might argue, may argue. Here is the counter argument that studying abroad is nothing but a vacation. Everybody goes there because they want to enjoy a vacation. While it's true for something, but this is not valid. It shouldn't. Not invalidate. Not invalidate, it's negative, because not means, invalidate means it's not true and not on top. So 2 negatives means positive. So the actions of few should validate studying abroad, because some people actually do study abroad, but this needs to be looked at. Here we got, and here's the evidence that shows the rejection of what people are saying, that when you study abroad it's just nothing but a vacation, and the proof is Dyer and Peters, or Dyer and Peters. They are saying they've done some sort of study for 3,400 students and found that a large number of them saying that it has got very strong impact, which is 96%, and increased their confidence by 96, and then gives them more skills, 79. So this is a proof for the rejection of these who argue like this, that it is studying abroad is a vacation, and then gives the benefits that it is better to do that, and it is to learn a new or discover a new culture, and it prepares you well to do that. So in the final one, which is the final paragraph here, which is number 6, is the conclusion here, where it says many benefits. Benefits, ben means good. Benefits, it means very things that are go back to you in good. There are good things that come from studying abroad. So colleges should require students to have this opportunity and make the use of it. And of course, there is the tuition and the fees, which can be subsidized, means reduced. So it is essential that students learn to negotiate about that so that they can explore new cultures as part of their education and therefore they'll be better prepared to succeed in their careers. After that, of course, there are references, and you can see Brewer and Cunningham, 2009 should have been included in the text. It wasn't included, and only page 9 was included as being quoted, but of course the whole article is from 1 to 29. Whereas Dwyer and Peters is another one which is in 2004, also not included in the text, which should have been included as a date here, which is 2004, and it says 36, quoted 36, but there is no 36 here, so that means they written the word 36. It should have been written in the text as 56 and not 36. If we go back to the quotation where it says that, actually it says 36 and it's not 36. According to this, it's only 2 pages. I don't think the whole article can be in just only 2 pages. It could be like from 36 to 57, or it could be they made a mistake in 50. Instead of writing 56, they wrote 36. I don't know. So it's either here they made a mistake and didn't write 36 to 57, or it is in the text that they made incorrect quotation page number. And then we have Kaufman and Martin and Weaver, who have done that in 1992, which should have been also included in the text. I hope that you have learned something from what's called argument essay. Have a nice day.